Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a Monk Ranger build guide for in Baldur's Gate 3. This was a request and I wanted to do it because it is an interesting combination because both classes use dexterity, constitution, and wisdom as their main three stats. So there is a little bit of synergy there. And I went through some rigorous testing. We're going to be starting with the Monk because this class is extremely powerful. As for our ability score, we're going to want to balance this out between dexterity, constitution, and wisdom. Wisdom's going to give us a little bit extra offense as well as defense, so we want to be making sure that that's as high as we can get it possibly. Now there is a good way of mitigating some of the issues that we may run into in this build, so obviously a big one being strength, because you can use strength as well, but having our dexterity high is going to help us out here because we'll be dealing damage off of this. And later in the game you can use strength potions to get your strength to 27 for a +8 to our punches, and we can do a lot of damage that way. But overall, you want to have the ability scores roughly like this. So 16 wisdom, 15 constitution, 16 dexterity, 10 strength, 8 intelligence, 8 charisma. The reason that we're going with this is because we can take Tavern Brawler to take our constitution up to 16 as well. Another alternative, if you use this as the face of your party, you can take the point here and use the Hag's Hair to take your dexterity up. That'll allow you to get a higher armor class than normal. So that's a good way of doing it. I'm going to take you through the full build here, as well as the gear at the end and a general way of playing this. So we're getting an additional G point here, and on our movement increases by 3 meters while not wearing armor. So we don't want to wear armor because we can get a lot out of this. We get our patient defense, step of the wind dash, and disengage. What's nice about this one is jump no longer requires a bonus action, so we can jump a bunch. It's actually pretty decent that way. There is some items that can benefit from jumping, which I'll get into in a future build, but as for our subclass, Way of the Open Hand is by and far the strongest for offensive, and with mixing in the Ranger, I just think it makes sense to go with the Way of the Open Hand. However, there is some benefit to going with the Way of Shadow. The only issue is casting these spells like Dark Vision, 2 chi points is a lot to ask. I think that the Way of the Shadow is a little bit weaker in terms of how it works than the Open Hand, which can do the Flurry of Blows, which gives it a disgusting amount of offense. So I really highly recommend going Open Hand, but if you want, the Way of the Shadow will work. Now, level 3 is a pretty good spike in damage for us. We also get Slow Fall, resistance to fall damage, and we get our feet. Now, there's 2 ways we can go about doing this. If you are getting a steady source of strength potions, take Tavern Brawler, because what this will do is add our strength modifier twice to the damage and attack rolls. So that gets really big, because if you have a strength potion, it can add your strength to 21 or 27 later in the game, which gives us a +8, which is doubled for +16 to damage and attack rolls, meaning we don't miss. If you don't have strength potions, I'll go through it this way. We would want to take either our wisdom or our dexterity up. So these are both going to increase our armor class. Now, the thing with wisdom is that the Boots of Uninhibited Kashigo is going to help out with that, but I'm going to put in points into dexterity here because this is going to help out with our armor class as well. But ideally, you'd want to take your wisdom up too, so you can go either way. At level 5, big power spike, extra attack, and we also get the stunning strikes to stun our target. Our big drow gets some darkness there, which is always nice. Now I also get the key empowered strikes, which allows you to overcome physical resistances. So if something's resistant to, let's say, normal bludgeoning damage, we can punch through that. And then we also get the manifestation of body, mind, and soul. So it gives us an additional 4 to 7 radiant, psychic, or necrotic damage. Don't use the necrotic one that much because necrotic damage is highly resisted by a lot of targets in this game. Radiant has some that will resist it and some that will actually bounce it back at you. And then Psychic is kind of the one you want to go with because less resistances to Psychic compared to other types. Now, Wholeness of Body is huge. This gives us some healing, regain half our key points, and then we also get an extra bonus action, allowing us to do another Flurry of Blows. So that is extremely powerful. Now, another thing I want to mention, because I know I'll get comments on this, 9 levels of Monk, 3 levels of Rogue Thief is the strongest Monk subclass. Adding in Ranger is not optimal if you're going for a perfect build, but it's still going to be extremely powerful. So it was a request and I want to go through this. We get at level 7 Stillness of Mind, so we can cast Stillness of Mind if we ever get Charmed or Frightened to remove it, and then we also get all the benefits from that. So that's nice if we ever get stuck in a crowd control. Now at level 8 we get ourselves another feat, and here is where we should be probably taking our Tavern Brawler. Take Constitution up, but again, strength modifier, so with the potions, +16 to attack and damage rolls. On top of that, Flurry of Blows hits twice, so just think about the crazy amount of damage that you can output with this class. It's absolutely freakish. At level 9, this is where we get our capstone monk skills. So we get unarmed, difficult Terrain doesn't slow us down, which is great. On top of that, we get our key resonation punch, which can make key resonate in the target. So this is an action. This doesn't require an action. It's like after you do this attack, you can attack with the key resonation blast. It hits in 5 meters. It's actually a huge area of effect. And it does 3d6 force damage. And this doesn't use an action. It's just a key point. So you can go boom, boom, or bonus action, boom, boom. Pretty offensive. Now, at level 10, we can... I would say it's best to add in the Ranger here. We just choose a favorite enemy. You can, if you really, really want to, you can go with like the Ranger Knight to get heavy armor proficiency. I don't think that's the best choice. We could go with something like the Sanctified Saint, give you proficiency in religion. This is really down to whatever you need proficiency in. Arcana, I would never use True Strike ever. Keeper of the Veil will give us proficiency in Arcana as well, so you can go with this for the perfection from good and evil. Or the Bounty Hunter if we want to use Ensnaring Strike, which we probably won't be using a whole lot, but it gives us proficiency in Investigation. So that's probably the best of that. And then the Natural Explorer. Beast Tamer, if you really want to get a Find Familiar. The Beast Tamer is pretty nice. It doesn't expend a spell slot when we use it, so we can have a little pet follow us around. It's nice to have the cats there with a monk. But Wasteland Wanderer, Cold, or Fire work really well as well. So gains resistance to fire damage, cold. Poison damage, if you are... Some races already got that built in, but fire damage is pretty common in the game, so is cold. So you can go with either of those. And if you really want to, Urban Tracker will give you proficiency in Sleight of Hand, so you can go that route. But as for the abilities, we got a +4 to Acrobatics, so it's not best to go with Athletics, because both of these kind of compete with each other. Increasing Stealth is a really good idea, and... going with nature checks is pretty good too if you wanted to go with something like that, but we're going to go with stealth and investigation for the ranger first level. And then at level 2 we get ourselves a couple spell slots, which probably just use Ensnaring Strike because this is a really good one just for ensnaring target. And Fog Cloud's another really good one. We're not going to use Hail of Thorns often, and also we're not going to use Ensnaring Strike often either. Enhanced Sleep can be a pretty good spell. 10 turns, triple jump distance, which we get a lot of jump distance as a monk. And Long Strider for the +3 meters movement speed can be nice too. So you can go with any combination of those, and it'll be a good choice. Now, for our fighting style, we don't really benefit much from a fighting style because we're not using a shield, we're not doing a one-handed weapon, and we're not wearing armor. Defense would be good if we really wanted to wear armor, but I would say the monk should go without and wear this piece of equipment here. Archery is a decent choice as well. If we wanted to do something like Ensnaring Strike, just as like a crossbow offhand, +2 to range attack rolls is nice because we'll be less likely to miss. Now, here is where we get our subclass, and for our next leveled spell, we could go with Enhanced Sleep. Hunter's Mark is okay. Bonus action, it deals an additional 1d6 of slashing or whatever type of damage. It would be bludgeoning in our case. So we can actually get this to stack pretty heavily, but it does require concentration. Just be mindful of that. But we will be punching often, so that gets us stack quite a bit. We can take that, but even Enhanced Sleep is a good option too. Now, as for the subclass, Beastmaster for the Ranger's Companion is okay, but I think Gloomstalker has a lot of merit here. So we get the Dread Ambusher, +3 to initiative, huge. On the first turn of combat, your movement speed increases by 3 meters, and you make an attack that deals an additional 1d8 damage. So it's also really nice. And we get Superior Dark Vision, and we can hide as a bonus action and use Umbral Shroud. So a lot of little synergies there, but really the Dread Ambusher being the big one. If you go with the Hunter, you just get the Hunter's Prey, which gives you extra damage to certain targets, which can be okay, but I think that the Beastmaster and Gloomstalker being the best choice here. So that'll be it for the Ranger. Now, again, going back to the Rogue Thief, that extra bonus action is probably better than getting the bonuses from the Ranger, but this was a request video, so I want to go through on this. So yeah, see there, Flurry of Blows can already deal upwards of 74 damage. We could even go a little bit further if we wanted to add on like a damage rider of a ring. So we got the acid ring there, which gives us even further damage. It's not stacking. Oh yeah, it's weapon attacks, my bad. Doesn't actually stack. But armor, Ring of Protection here, and Killer Sweetheart being the two best rings. As for crossbows, I like to have the Hellfire Hand Crossbow and Firestoker. If you ever stealth, this is a good way to attack because it'll apply burn and then deal additional damage with the Firestoker. I'm using the Scrabby Pugilist Circlet here. Gives you initial 2 damage when surrounded by 2 or more foes. So just nice overall damage increase. We got a 20 armor class, which is not amazing. If you're using the Hags here, you could get it up to 21. And then we could also use our Cloak of Protection, get to 22. But I like the Deathstalker Mantle. I don't normally include this in builds because this is Dark Urge exclusive, but once per turn when you kill an enemy, you can turn yourself invisible for 2 turns, which gives you a lot of damage options. So that is a good choice, but we're going to go Cloak of Protection. Now, the Vest of Soul Rejuvenation is incredible. Whenever we're succeeds a saving throw, we gain 1 to 4 health points. And we're more likely to succeed saving throws with our class bonus feat that we get. And also we get the Greater Kashigo counter whenever whenever an attacker misses, we get to attack at them with a reaction. And this gives us a +2 to armor class. Gloves of Soul Catching will give us an additional 1d10 force damage on our attacks, and we regain 10 health whenever we attack, or we can get advantage on attack rolls and saving throws. +2 to Constitution, so we don't even need to use the Constitution Amulet. You can go with something like the Sentient Amulet, will give us the Key Restoration, so that's a pretty decent one, and then we still have 114 health, and you can give the amulet to someone else. And then the Boots of Uninhibited Kashigo gives us the additional damage equal to our Wisdom modifier on unarmed strikes. So that starts to give our attacks quite a bit of attacking power. So our Flurry of Blows being a big damage number. The prone one is really nice too, because you can crowd control a little bit with this, and it strikes twice, so that's really great. Now, another thing that we can also do is the Key Resonation Punches. So we can use the bonus action or the action one, and what this will do is we can resonate our key with the target here, in our case Mizora. And then when they come back, we can do the Key Resonation Blast. So this will detonate the key within 5 meters. So this is like our only crowd control really option, but it's a good one because we can do it all in 1 turn. You can see there she's sparkling, and then boom, we can make them go boom. So yeah, that is the Monk Ranger build guide from Baldur's Gate 3. Pretty interesting class because it does combine 2 things that work together well. If you're approaching from range, you have some ranged options like Ensnaring Strike. We got a few spell slots, so it's the things like Hunter's Mark. And even taking Longstrider, like that could have been another spell that we went with instead. But Fog Cloud's not a bad one for crowd control too, because you can just set up Fog Cloud and then it's blindness right there, and then we can kind of stealth our way around, which is nice. So we got a bit of stealth, not as much as like a ranger would have, but see there, you can hide in it and then you can go out and surprise attack. So pretty powerful class in Baldur's Gate 3. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video useful, please hit the subscribe button below, and I'll see you all in the next video.